I was just itching to the point where I thought it was just like an allergy. I thought it was like my laundry detergent, new bedding, and then my diet. So I saw an allergist, immunist, hematologist, dermatologist. Every doctor I saw how miserable I was. They wanted to be the answer. Like they wanted to help me. But then they got to the point where like, it's not working. Like it's not us. So I went to my primary and he was the one, he's like, I think it's mental. And I was like, okay. And at the time I was at the breaking point. So I was like, that actually makes sense. Mental is the only thing that makes sense.
We're going to talk a little bit about your journey through getting diagnosed with cancer, which I think is a pretty unusual story.
In my 20s, yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with it. How old were you when you first had the first signs, and what were they?
The first symptoms?
Yeah.
25, 26.
Okay. That was what, 2020?
2020. So
okay.
2020, coming out of COVID. Very eased into the symptoms. I was just itching to the point where I thought it was just like an allergy. I thought it was like my laundry detergent, so I changed that. New bedding, and then my diet. But then I really didn't take the diet seriously because I was like, I'm not giving up gluten or I'm not giving up dairy. Like,
so the symptoms were itching,
and eventually it kind of morphed into like night sweats. Which I didn't think, I'm a hot sleeper anyway, so it's not like I thought anything different about it.
And it was just after you had COVID.
I had COVID in October.
How long did you have COVID for?
Like the 7 to 10 days.
You lose the smell and taste? Or
I
no?
had like the posters they had up, I had everything pretty like severely too, right? It hit me hard.
Okay.
I've always been pretty healthy too. Like I've been a healthy person.
Right.
You might disagree. You always call out all my...
You're sick. You're sick all the time.
I'm not though. Like I feel very healthy.
Okay. That's okay.
So itching, I didn't think anything of it. I kind of talked to my primary care doctor. I was here to call him out because I had the worst primary care doctor in the world. Like,
in what sense you mean?
Like I hate to bring this up, but like I am a woman and everything is just, kind of brushed aside, right?
So you felt that?
I did, but it was also, he was just stupid. Like so at the time he was like, well, have you ever tried tanning, like using the tanning beds? And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I already am, but okay. He's like, well, go consistently for 3 months. So I would come back to him and he's like, I'm like, so I did what you said. And he's like, well, don't tan, right? Like tanning's not doing it. And I was like, but you said the tanning would help. And then he's like, well, you know what my wife does? And I was like, what the hell? And he's like, she does spray tans. And I'm like, what would a spray tan do for like internal, like anything, like to make me happy, right? I don't know.
So at that point, would you call it a regular itch, or was it just an
regular
insane itch? Just a regular itch?
Regular itch. So how I would describe it is like, if you have an itch, like right now, like I have an itch right here, and especially when I think about an itch, you itch it and it's satisfied and you're done itching that spot unless there's like something there.
You're right.
I was never satisfied with the itch. I would forget about the itch or I'd move on to a different place, but like very subtle, especially at night. Itching was at night. So I thought my bedding, right? And then so that primary care doctor, so stupid, sent me everywhere, right? Like an allergist, and the allergy test where they like put it under your skin and your back, did all of that. I'm not allergic to anything. Like
okay.
Environmental, like there's nothing. And then I went to an immunist. And then I had a blood test come back with a very high iron, like scary iron. And they sent me to a hematologist, which is an oncologist. And so they diagnosed me with hemochromatosis, which is just a genetic like iron overload. That's when you have to like bloodletting or like gets in your liver.
So that's ferritin. What they told you. You were supposed to go in and drain so much blood. What?
Like bloodletting or whatever that is.
Every 2 months? Every how many months?
Just depends on how much like iron you need to get rid of. Like it. And it really will hit me when I'm 60. Like when I'm older is when the problems arise.
So that's unrelated to the cancer.
Yeah, but the hematologist was like, because I told him about the itching, and he's like, it's not your blood making you itch. Like go to some other doctor. Like it's not my territory. But I did kind of mention like when I got COVID with him, and he's like, that could be a long-term COVID symptom. Like he believed that.
Right.
So that's what I kind of believe too. I saw an immunist, and they would give me like, I don't know if it's like bi-weekly, but like, what is that called? I got a shot, just like a...
The blood guy did?
No, the immunist.
Oh, okay.
They gave me a shot where I had to like be in there for 3 hours to make sure no reaction. And I did that pretty frequently.
Was it steroids?
No.
Huh.
Okay, but that's a crazy story. My primary care doctor finally gave me a prednisone shot or steroid shot.
Yeah.
And it was the same week I got my dog Dolly as a puppy.
Yeah.
And so I got the dog and my itching went away for 3 or 4 days. And we never talked about it. Me, my husband, and my mom all thought that the dog cured me. It was just I needed some happiness in my life and this puppy cured me. And we're like, holy shit, this is the answer. And then the next week I'm itching again. So I'm like, okay, it's not the dog.
So it went away for how long? A week or
week,
something?
Maybe a little less than a week. Yeah. With the steroid shot.
Wow.
But you can't have more steroids for another 3
Right,
months. But I'm
right.
begging him. I'm like, pump me with steroids because that was the best week of my life.
Right.
And that was that was April, May. So it's gotten so severe by April, May that I was like.
The itching's worse.
So much worse than in November.
Just driving you crazy.
Actually insane.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep because of it.
Yeah. You had scratches everywhere?
So scratches everywhere. I had to change my nail acrylic shape because I was scratching myself, drawing blood. I'd wake up and my sheets are bloody.
Yeah.
So constantly open wounds all over my body. And then I would change the shape of my nails. And then when I'd itch, I'd cause bruising. So no more blood, but bruising everywhere. And it looked so scary. And then I would only get 2 hours of sleep a night. And so that was starting to wreak havoc on everything because I was only getting, and then even my husband was losing sleep because I wasn't sleeping. And the bathtub was one of the only things that kind of soothed it in a way. So I would spend I'd go to bed. So I got on Klonopin as well.
What? I don't know what that is.
Benzo.
Okay. To help you sleep.
To help me sleep. And I was, upping my dose. It
That's
just
some pretty heavy stuff.
It got heavy and heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was very reliant on it. It started out I would take it occasionally or on the weekend I would take it and, crash out for a few hours, but you can't drive on it. You can't.
Right.
I'm pretty, I used to take it for anxiety and I was pretty it's like drunk. It's like when you drink a lot is what they compare it to. So I'd get some sleep to probably 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m. around there, wake up, go in the bathtub until 7 a.m.
Oh.
And then go back to bed around 7 because I'm just so tired. Sleep until my alarm goes off and then I have to get to work, right? So that was just my cycle and we knew it. I take my pill, sleep for a little bit, go in the bath. So baths, somebody tickling my back or distracting me helped, and then work. Honestly, work, the busier, the better. And we were really busy that year.
Yeah.
So I just had project that would just keep me busy. So when I would come home, the 30-minute drive commute sucked. Racing home right to the bath.
Okay, you saw a skin guy.
Yeah. So
a blood guy.
Dermatologist. Oh, the dermatologist was actually close to last. So I saw an allergist, immunist, hematologist, oncologist, dermatologist. There's a few other ones that I'm forgetting. The dermatologist also. So I grew up with eczema, pretty severe as a kid.
Yeah.
And as I grown up, it kind of got better. They just say you have eczema all over your body.
That's what they said?
Yeah. And I was like, no, not physically though. You can't see it, but they're like, that's why you're itching. So they gave me that was a biweekly shot and I only got one of the doses. And they signed me up. I qualified for something to pay for it because it's a really expensive drug. So I only got one of the doses.
So did you feel like every discipline was trying to reach out thinking they had the solution to that problem? And they felt
so bad. Every doctor I saw how miserable I was and they wanted to be the answer. They wanted to help me. But then they got to the point where it's not working. It's not us. Go here. And
then it ended at the psychiatrist or a psychologist?
So a psychologist. I don't know the difference. Psychologist?
Probably is. Did he give drugs?
So I went to my primary and he was the one. He's like, I'm going to send you to this center because I think it's mental. And I was like, okay. And at the time I was so
you were
dying.
You were kind of over it.
I lost a lot of weight and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
I looked bad. And then I was at the breaking point. So I was like, so I accepted it so fast. I was like, that actually makes sense. Mental is the only thing that makes sense. So
you thought that
well, they said that to me. And when they said it, I accepted it so quickly. Cause I was like,
cause you were at that point. Yeah,
I was at that point
for sure.
And I was at the point where I was on Klonopin all the time. So I was always being babysat. Like somebody was driving me or something.
Yeah.
And And then actually we went to Colorado for that wildlife shoot.
Yeah.
And the DP went to a dispensary and then gave me a little bit of it, which is so crazy.
It's a medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana, but with THC. Well, it's recreational in Colorado. They, my husband brought it home from a hunting trip probably 6 months earlier and tried to get me to do it because of my belief on things, drugs, I would not do it.
Yeah.
And then...
Did that prove useful?
Oh my gosh. Like, so in our religion, like, it's bad, but I would bear my testimony that, like,
that was
is good, and it's a healthier alternative to, like, what I was just
better
following.
than a benzo, for sure.
Yeah. So I had some there, and then by the end of the shoot, I went to the dispensary myself and stocked up and shipped it home. And then I was so bad on that shoot, like, ice packs also helped. So I packed like 1 million of those like crack ice packs, and I was constantly, I remember in the hotel room, I wasn't sleeping at all. We got back, and then my mom was like, how much would it cost for somebody to pay you to stop working? Like, because I just was so miserable. Like, I had a very close family friend, like my parents' best friend, and he also was like, what do I need to do so you just don't have to go back to work?
Yeah.
Financially. And it's hard for me because it was a control thing I didn't want to let go.
Yeah,
I want to
sure.
work.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got back from that trip. The next day, came in, turned in all the paperwork, and then never came back to work because I was just
I remember
gone.
That. Yep.
And then marijuana a lot right during the day. Like I was just.
So did you think you were going crazy at that point?
So sorry. The primary care doctor said go to this center. I went to the psychologist, and he's like, yeah, it's hallucination. You're hallucinating your itch. No, that makes so much sense. When you're so desperate, when you're so desperate, I was like, I am, right? And I already have, like, I've been diagnosed with, anxiety, depression since young, and I have pretty severe OCD just.
Yeah.
So it made sense, like it was a tick or like something. And then so I did ketamine. And I did it like every other day for like 2-3 weeks.
And what does that entail? You go there. I know what it is. It's a horse. Yeah.
So you go in.
It's a horse. It's a horse sedative. Yeah.
So you go in IV. The room's like dark and like relaxing. Yeah. And like the first one, my mom took a picture of me, and I'm just dead.
Does the second they drop it, do you just go?
It's slow. You can control your pace. Yeah. And I didn't tell the people that I was also doing edibles.
Yeah.
So I was paranoid going in, and you can get paranoia from both of the things. And so I was always paranoid in there, like, what if I get in trouble, or what if I'm doing something wrong with doing both? My husband at that month, it was like hunting season, and he had tags that he had to do. So he was gone almost every weekend. So I was either being bounced around, and then my mom went to California. So my brother I literally was like a toddler being passed around.
How long did you do the ketamine?
2.5 weeks, every other day. And then, so he picked me up from a ketamine treatment, took me to their house. I was
oh my gosh,
dead the whole time there. And then...
did it work? You just didn't notice the itch when you were on ketamine?
Oh, I forgot. They also did the TMS, so the brain zapping. So they put you up on this little suit. They measure your head and like...
Like shock therapy.
I don't know.
Shock
it just
treatment,
hits your head.
Yeah.
And they talk to you. So the TMS, they say, makes you tired and gives you headaches. And I'm like, all these symptoms I don't need when I'm already dying. So he picked me from a ketamine. He picked me up from a ketamine treatment. I stayed at their house over the weekend. Saturday night, a lump kind of appeared on my, like I noticed oh my gosh, I'm skipping around everywhere. I get a lot of massages because that stimulation helps me. Yeah. So the lady kind of was like working on my neck. She's like, you kind of got a gnaw right here. She's just like, I wonder if it was.
Did you have a cold at the same time?
No. So
you didn't have, it's not like you had they adenoids.
Yeah. They say that. So
when you got a cold.
So the lump kind of was there. And then again, I'm a toddler to people, right? I'm not making good decisions. Like I'm just there. And my sister-in-law is pretty like not a hypochondriac, but like pretty intense with like, you go to the doctor. Yeah. Like all of our kids are. So my brother took me to Instacare. The lady at the Instacare was actually a really, really close family friend. Yeah. And the doctor's like, you probably have sickness. Like it's just a swollen lymph node, like just whatever. It was the weekend. So I had to drive like 30 minutes to an open pharmacy to get antibiotics. Started the antibiotics and the lump went down. But he's like, on Monday, you can decide if you want to go get it ultrasounded. And I was like, I don't know. Right. Like the antibiotics I felt like worked. But then I was like, you know what? Let's just get ultrasounded. Got the ultrasound. And they're like, we're going to do a biopsy after the ultrasound. We're going to biopsy it. The ultrasound tech was so professional because she's measuring stuff. Like it is probably really bad. And I was like, how's it going? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I'm just doing my job. And then they called me and they're like, so after the CT, I had to do a CT scan with like drink the stuff and contrast. And then the doctor called me and was like, a different Instacare doctor, but the same clinic, called me and they're like, we actually are going to reschedule your biopsy because we have to do not the like injection or the needle one, but they have to go into surgery.
A surgery one, huh?
And get it removed. And so that day,
like remove the whole thing,
the lymph node, the swollen one. Yeah.
Okay.
So the day that they called me on that, I was getting my eyelashes done. So I had an appointment and you can't cry. You can't get them wet or anything.
Yeah.
So she called and I was on speaker with my mom because I'm still being babysat. And she's like, well, we're, looking at this. You need to do this kind of biopsy. We're looking at maybe possibly lymphoma, blah, 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 blah. And my mom just like, oh, it'll be great. We're all fine. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
because you were so high on the other stuff.
Well, I wasn't high. I actually
was
sober at that point because I had to drive.
Yeah.
But she was just very like, yeah, it'll be okay. And then so I called my husband on the way and I'm like, the doctor said this. I have a surgery scheduled for Friday. Like, and they're going to do this. But they looked at lymphoma and Zach is Googling it while he's on speakerphone. Like, he's just Googling it. And he's like, says you have to do this. Like, I'm not shaving my head. Like, as a joke. And
right.
And no way, in my head, I didn't even think the word cancer. I just was like, why would you shave your head? Like, that's rude of you to say, right? What if you had to, right? And then I went to the appointment and then I was in so much denial, I think, just and everything. So I never really looked it up. I never thought the word cancer. Like, I didn't even know lymphoma was a cancer when I was told.
Oh, when you went to the appointment, you didn't even really, it never even hit you, really.
No, like lymphoma to me, I didn't know was cancer.
Yeah.
My mom did, though. So she called my husband after I called him and was like, everything's going to be okay. Like, her true emotions was there and was like, everything's okay. And he even was like, well, I don't know. And then I went into surgery and then they talked to him while I was in it and they were like, yeah, it was pretty big. Like, this is probably what it is. And then because of it's, Did
you draw the correlation at this point? Did they draw the correlation between being itchy and this?
No, the oncologist did.
Okay.
So the surgeon didn't, right? He just knows but it's, 2021. So everything's digital. So I'm getting results before the doctor can call me.
Right.
So I'm constantly checking the app and it'll, type the cancer and like the severity of it. And so we're in like, my mom's done all the research. Like, she's not sleeping. She's just doing the research of like, if it's this, it's this. And she was scared. Like, she thought I would need to do like the bone marrow transplant, like all of the worst case things.
Scenario, yeah.
And usually like your siblings are like best matches. So she was already preparing my brothers who are all
lining people up. Yeah.
Like who all need to stop drinking and doing drugs. Like, they need to figure and she kind of used it as an excuse to like get their lives together.
Yeah. And
then I remember I got the results. We went in with the same oncologist that said, it's not your blood itching, making you itch. And he's like, this is what you have. The whole diagnosis thing.
Yeah.
And, I remember going in, I wrote on my notes app like 3 questions that I had for him. And they're all stupid questions, but like, will I lose my hair? And will it be everywhere? Like, do I have to shave? And he was like, that's a weird question, but like, no, you won't have to shave. Like, you'll lose it everywhere. And then my other question was, this is really dark. What if I don't do treatment? Like, what if I don't do anything? And he was like, are you considering that? And I was like, I want to know. And so, like I said, my sister-in-law was diagnosed or died of cancer 2 months before this diagnosis.
Right.
And so cancer was on and just watching her suffer and just the whole shitty thing. And like, I think just like my mental health too, I was done. I was like, I don't want to fight this. I don't want to go through it. So that's why I asked the question. And he was so positive of like, if I had to pick any cancer, this is the cancer I'd pick. Like, it's so curable and the treat, like, this is the one. And I hated that. Like, I was like, no, if I'm getting cancer, I want the one that takes me out. Like, I don't want yeah,
you were in a weird place then.
Yeah. And like, that is like the best news people want to hear, but like, that's the opposite of what I wanted to hear. I'm like, no, I want, why me? What? And then I started feeling a lot of guilt of like, well, Brooklyn died from her cancer and mine's going to be cured. And I'm sitting here wanting to die. So it's like, but she didn't have that choice. So I felt a lot of guilt with that, but I was trying to figure out my emotions. They wanted to start chemo really fast.
And the official diagnosis was?
Hodgkin's lymphoma, only stage 2. They were worried about stage 3, but they did stage 2 unfavorable.
Yeah.
I don't know why anything. And there's more to the title. I just don't remember it.
So when did it sink in as to what it was? Or were you just on autopilot at that point?
I was on autopilot, but I was also so itchy and so not in my brain. Like, I was like, okay, when can I take my next Klonopin? Like, thanks for the news, doc.
So that was about the time. So once you got that diagnosis, then we met, because remember that? And I had just heard that you were getting ketamine, and I just remember
you were told that I was hallucinating it.
Well, and where they were just saying that it was in your head and stuff. And I don't know why. I just had the strongest thing. So when we met, I was like, that's when I remember. That
was actually a really funny time.
I remember telling you, saying, look.
You dove right in. I
was like, you have something's going on. It's not in your head.
Don't listen to those doctors.
No.
And then
you said, oh, surprise, I have cancer.
Yeah, and you were like,
But you were, in some way, you were relieved, because there was a year and plus.
Oh, so
with
relieved.
No answers.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was, I guess that, like, the diagnosis is like doomsday for everybody. Mine was pretty, like, I was so grateful. Like, so grateful. I'm like, cancer.
Because you'd had just such a miserable year of just chasing rabbit holes.
Cure, I verbally told 2 people, you and like an esthetician or something. Some of my appointments, I'm like, I have to cancel because I have cancer.
How did Zach take it?
I don't know. That was the hardest read for me.
He's probably repressed because of his sister. He's already going through it. He's already a quiet guy too. He keeps it all in, right? Manly, like that. He's kind of stuff. Very stoic. Yeah.
So it was hard. It actually was hard for me. I was like trying to get something from him, and he went in like full protector mode, right? Like worked like a dog. Like, I don't know. I think he never really let it open. There were some times where I'd play like a song, and he would like, it's like a sad song or something.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I can't listen to this, and he'd turn it off and start crying. I know, and it's I hardly see him cry, and then when he cry, I'm like,
so then you got right into treatment?
Rushed to chemo, but because of my age and because we don't have any kids or anything, they're like,
that's right.
It's probably smart to freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
My doctor was like, you probably don't need to, but so he was pushing for chemo, but I was like, no, let's pause. And then I went straight.
And that's because chemo can sometimes
your infertility. Yeah. So I did like that round of whatever, they harvested eggs.
Yeah.
And then the next day, and then they got a port placed that same week. So I went under, and the biopsy was all pretty like in a 2-week window. So I was going under a lot. So they weren't really tracking like what I was. So when chemo finally hit me, everything was a mess. Like, you know, those horror stories of like chemo patients.
Yeah.
Like, that was me. Like,
they just laid you
World
out.
War III in the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And how long was chemo for you?
Like 6 months. Yeah.
How often?
Every other week. I was supposed to do radiation.
Like 5 days a week? Is that what it was?
Every other week. So.
Oh, I see.
1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on. You're supposed to do radiation with mine too, but we opted not to because of the placement and the risk of a new cancer because of radiation.
Okay.
Like breast cancer would come.
Right.
And so they're like, we're not.
So you never did radiation?
No.
Okay.
My doctor asked, like I could have if I wanted to, but he recommended I didn't either because of the risks.
So did they do more surgery or only one lymph node?
Only one lymph node for the biopsy.
Okay.
You don't need to do more.
Okay.
Really shitty. I got COVID in the middle of my chemo.
Okay.
When they also
again,
yeah. They also asked like when I asked when my itching will stop. Right? Do I have to go through all of the chemo? So the first 2 treatments I was very itchy, and that like compounded.
Oh wow!
The chemo
so it
symptoms.
didn't subside even at the beginning.
2 weeks or 2 rounds, and then it stopped.
Wow!
Completely stopped.
And then you're like, "Dang, I should have started chemo."
I know. And then I lost my hair, but I'm trying to think of what. So like the PET scan, you have to be in a room for like an hour for like the radiation, like radioactive whatever, to like go, and that was probably one of the hardest hours because like. Nobody was there to like tickle my back or, you know, distract me for an hour. I was just in a room.
You can't read anything.
You can't have your phone. You can't read because it will like focus to where your eyes are. And so that was hell. And then you have to go into the thing and not move. And when I say itchy, I looked like a meth addict. Like this, I looked like one because I had cuts everywhere. I used to have like skin damage from it.
Did they, Did they do that before they started chemo then?
Yeah.
They just wanted to know where everything was.
Biopsy, PET scan.
What did the PET scan show?
It tells you your stage 2 of where it is. So they glow really bright.
Yeah.
So this one, the one right here was huge. And then you saw the trail to right here.
At this point, are you sleeping better, or are you still just everything's a mess?
Oh, the marijuana
wouldn't help that.
Yeah, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on chemo, I was sleeping all the time. Like I was on medication that helped me sleep, like the anti-nausea, very drowsy, and I was sleeping really good finally, but very drug induced. Like
how long did the hair last before that fell out?
The first, it started falling out very slowly. I have a lot of hair. I'm blessed with a lot of hair.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a long process of losing it all. And most people either cut it or shave it pretty quickly so they don't have to go through that. I just didn't want to.
You just couldn't do it.
I had the longest, right? My hair was like was my thing. And then it turned into like a big dreadlock right into my hair, because the fallen hair would get into it. And I wasn't like washing it every day or brushing it because you just turned into a bum.
Right.
And then it got gross, and Zach would have to brush it out, or my mom would brush it out. And I remember filming the last time I washed it, like in a shower. I filmed it, which is so weird. No, I didn't even wash it. So I stopped washing my hair. This is so bad. This is amazing. I'm going to start crying. I stopped washing my hair probably in May of 21.
Okay.
Zach would wash my hair in the shower because I just couldn't, and I was so tired, and he would blow dry it.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And depending on the day, like if he would curl it or straighten it, he did it.
Wow. And
it was hard for him, right? Because it'd be like 9:00 and he wants to go to bed or something. And I'd come out and be like, can you blow dry my hair? And he was like, if you would have asked me, told me I was going to do it instead of like when I'm already in bed. But he never said no. He always did it. And again, that was like something that relieved like the itching too. Like it was and I needed to wash my hair. So he washed my hair.
Losing the hair was hard. I think
it's in the moment of what's the hardest, right? The itching was the hardest at that moment. And I still think the itching trumps everything. Well, losing my hair was a different kind of, the chemo sucked, right? Like getting sick and all of that. But losing my hair and it lasted for so long, like 2 years after losing my hair. So I lost
I'm assuming the hair thing is kind of it makes it all really real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you say that? It's like a total visual representation of
cancer.
I am sick.
And you're sick.
Yeah.
But I liked that. Because before I went a whole year of being so sick and nobody, I had to put on a brave face because they didn't, right? But when you have cancer, people treat you differently, or know you're sick, right?
Yeah.
But when I didn't have that symbol, I felt like I had to work hard. I still felt like I had to do everything.
Yeah.
So when I was bald though, during treatment, it was the best thing ever to not have to do my hair, not worry about the tedious things, right? And when I was in the shower, quick showers, right? But then as soon as I rang the bell, maybe a week later is when it finally hit me about the bald.
After?
I hated it.
Really?
So all through treatment, I was fine.
Wow.
And I embraced it, right? I never wore hats. I bought 5 wigs before it started because I was never wore them. I accepted the bald, and I got a lot of compliments, right?
You had a good shaped head.
I know. Everybody's
you're going to be bald. Yeah, you look good. You looked good.
Mm-hmm. And then, so it started slowly growing back. So we had a cancer party, everybody came, friends, family.
At the end of chemo.
At the end of chemo. After I rang the bell, a week after. Well, maybe 3 weeks after, because you can't be around people. I actually went to Disneyland because I was supposed to go mid-treatment, but my husband's like, no, you're not going because you'll get sick or you can get COVID.
Right.
And then I ended up getting COVID after staying home. And that COVID was probably one of the worst weeks because I was in the hospital. And it wasn't even the COVID sickness. It was how hospitals treat you. It's miserable. They don't let you sleep. The medications they put me on was painful. It was painful the entire time. And my husband was like, well, take marijuana while you're in there. And I was like, no, I'm in a hospital, right? It's literally in my bag the entire time.
So you didn't do that?
I should have.
You should have.
Because all of the other pain medications were causing the worst painful symptoms.
Yeah.
But if I took marijuana, healthier, I'm not dependent on it.
Yeah.
But I almost broke out of the hospital. I was and then, you know, and I hated like being mad at the nurses because they were just doing their job. But
How long were you in there?
A week.
And that was 2022?
2022, yeah. So that was February of 22.
So your whole journey from the time you started chemo till you were done?
November to end of March, April.
And is that it?
Yeah.
You've been clean since?
Mm-hmm. I get CT scans, so it started very regularly, like every other month, maybe every 3 months, to every 4 months, to every 6 months, to once a year. I started opting out of CT scans, though, because...
Yeah, they have a lot of radiation.
Mm-hmm, so I was like, I don't need them unless symptoms come back.
Yeah.
There were some times where, like, I would start itching again, and I mentally, like...
Oh, I bet.
Be like, what is this? I'm scared, or what are my symptoms? Like, I'm very in tune with it. And so I'd go to my doctor, and my doctor, very happy, like, come in, right? Like, let's test it. Let's do an extra CT scan. Let's figure it out. But
now, you started doing TikTok stuff to kill the time. What's that story?
Yeah, it's weird. I never thought I would ever be a poster, like, on social media and stuff. But then I think just boredom, or maybe I knew my bald head would get me views. Like, I don't know. Manipulation. I was being strategic. But I started doing TikTok dances while doing chemo, which, like, I'd have, like, the whole chemo stand and everything. Went viral a few times. Like, it just, like, I'm a big following. But I feel like when I stopped doing chemo content, nothing. Yeah, it was like, your career's over. Like, don't try again. But yeah, it was pretty fun. And it was crazy. TikTok invited me into, like, the cancer world. And I met so many friends. And we, like, messaged all the time, going through, like, around my age or going around through the same cancer. Like, it was a community. And it's crazy. Like, I hate to say, like, people aren't welcome in our club, but you don't know it until you're in it.
Right.
And when you're in it, you really relate to people in a different way than, like, you would relate to anybody else. So I felt like I needed that.
Yeah.
Like, I had close, like, my mom and my husband, like, everybody was so close, and, like, I could talk to about it, but not the same way.
Right.
I didn't feel understood.
Right.
And that's why I feel so, like, close to Janine about that way. Like, you don't know until you
right,
until
you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How were people to you after you told them? How many people did you actually end up telling? How did they find out?
2 people, like I said. And then everybody was pushing me to make a social media post about it to announce, like, a lot of people, like, big network.
Did you do that?
Yeah. So I made an Instagram post and stuff, and a lot of people reached out. I had a lot of friends come and visit me the first, you know, like,
in the beginning.
Yeah. I had some really, like, 2 of my bridesmaids came and visited, like, mid-treatment, like, I was bald, and that was really special. Like, I felt really cool. My ward, my neighbors, you know, we got meals. The weeks of chemo, we got, like, 4 days a week, we got meals.
From the church.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I ate every part of it, right? Like, which is weird. I don't like homemade food from people. Weird. But I downed it.
It's kind of it's the weird part of, like, when bad things happen, it allows people to really help you.
I was so humbled.
Yeah.
Would never ask for help. I want to be the helper, right? I would never want to ask for help. Yeah. But it humbled me in a way of, like, accept help. Yeah. Right. And be honest with people. And I know a lot of, like, the neighbors, when they bring meals, they would want to, like, chat with me. And that was hard because I was just exhausted. And right. Or sometimes I was in the bathtub, right? Like, but you could tell they were kind of like, oh, like, I wanted to see her. And my mom or Zach would open the door. I remembered, hopefully this isn't seen. No, I'm not saying it, actually. Okay. Never mind. Yeah. I don't know. The bald was really hard, like, in all of the stages growing out. Like, I felt ugly, right? Like, just the ugliest person ever. It was hard, like, even my marriage, right? Like, I felt so ugly to him, and, like, it caused problems in a way of, like, we weren't as intimate. Like, I just hated it, right? Like, I didn't want anybody, like, touch my, like, it was a thing. And then I, like, kept on, like, the hairstyles, right? Like, as it was growing, I would do fun things, but hated it. And I haven't, so for probably a year, I would do, because you have to, like, kind of cut it or you just look weird. Right. But after it got to, like, my, like, just kind of fuzzy on my ears, I stopped. So this hair, I haven't cut in, like, 2.5 years. Because the first hair that grows in is kind of, it was soft and gray. Yeah, it was gray. Yeah, it was gray. It was like a duckling. Yeah, like duckling, soft, curly. Yeah, and just gray. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, looking back on it now, what's your takeaway from your story for you?
Advocate for yourself in the medical world, right? Like, you have to be your advocate. And I also, like, in my head, I'm like, well, what did I grow from this? The biggest thing is humility, right? Like, I felt like I had to do it. Like, even at work, I didn't feel replaceable until I was replaced. And I was like, it's okay. Like, I am not so needed in a way that was like a people pleasing way that like was destructive to me. It was really healthy for me to like lean on others. So I was humbled. I think the biggest thing is I was just humbled. But
do you, if it happened again, well, I mean,
don't ask.
Well, I'm not gonna... Well, no, what I'm just saying, if looking back on it, do you think there was any way to actually get to where you did with the thing any sooner?
The symptom.
Go to another doctor. I mean, was there just nothing?
I talked to that oncologist about it, and the only way to diagnose Hodgkin lymphoma is like the PET scan. And they don't just give PET scans to anybody because they're dangerous and expensive.
Right.
So they don't just hand those out willy-nilly.
Right.
Or I'd say everybody get a PET scan at some point just to know if it's there.
But they have their own downside.
I know. Yeah. So, and it takes a long time to be diagnosed with this too. I've heard a lot of stories, and I even heard somebody's that had that itching too, and it took them almost a whole year before.
For people who've been diagnosed, what's your advice to them? What do you say?
All the normal stuff of like, get like a diaper bag for yourself just to put things in, right? Like, it sounds so silly, but you carry around a bag with all your stuff that you need, like a thermometer, snacks, water, things to do, all your medications. I it was like my like emotional support bag. Do things that make you happy, right? Like, don't not do things, if that makes sense, because you'll regret it. My biggest regret actually is journaling. I wish I journaled.
You didn't?
I didn't. I don't know if I was scared to. I didn't know. I don't know. I just
did you think about it?
I did, yeah.
And I
thought I was going to write a book. When I was diagnosed, I was like, I'm going to have so much time because I would stop working.
Right.
I was going to write a book. Not about me, like a fiction book.
Oh.
You're so tired. You don't be so ambitious.
Yeah, how did the chemo affect you?
I got like the bone aches and the neuropathy.
Did that go away?
Mm-hmm. I get my fingers still a little bit. Like the bone, my immune system was so shot, and my levels never really picked up in between all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I was and even afterwards, it took my levels longer than I thought would. Like maybe a month later, I feel like my body finally like lost the fight or flight mode and crashed. Like, I couldn't walk physically. Like,
a month later,
like a month after my last treatment, and I was not doing
after chemo anymore. Right.
It sounds crazy. I was also stupid and went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Thinking I have so much energy, I'm going to Disneyland. It was like 2 days in Disneyland.
Right.
Came home and I was
just gone.
Done. And it hurt physically to walk. So I never left my bed for a whole week.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. My body was in it. I was more tired than I was with chemo. Like, it was just finding like my body like giving itself a break from healing.
And your mom kind of took on that.
My mom and I are best friends. Like,
so she was friends. Like all over this.
She spent all over the doctors. Of her energy. She's one of those givers that just, she would give the shirt off of her back. She would do anything. Like, she's my advocate. She, would get me. She'd bought me out. Like, I had to get a new wardrobe. It sounds so silly, but like when I was itchy, the waistbands would make it bad, or like, so when I would go to her house during like the babysitting phase, I would go in the bath or something and I would need new clothes, and I would just leave with her clothes. So she lost probably half her wardrobe by me going over there, getting new clothes or whatever's comfortable and that kind of stuff. But
wow, that is a story.
It's crazy. Yeah. I still can't believe it. And there was a lot of times my mom and I would like look at each other and be like, cancer? Like, what the heck? Like,
yeah,
we both are like still baffled by it. But and the longer it goes from it, the more you really do move on, right? I thought I would be in it, especially when your hair's gone. I'd look in the mirror and be reminded constantly.
Right.
Like
did you think my hair is never going to grow back? Was it that kind of thing?
It just was a constant reminder of what happened.
Of that. Yeah.
Right. You couldn't really move on. And again, my hair was really hard for me to get over. Like really hard.
Yeah.
And then so once my hair's finally gone to the point where I look in the mirror, I don't even think twice. Right. I just am back to normal. And I sound like a biatch, but like I hate when people, especially too late, like, how are you feeling? Are you healthy? How are you doing?
Hold it. You're saying that now?
Now. Still
or do you still get that? Oh.
Even like, or maybe like a year ago when I still felt really healthy, they were like, is it okay? And it's the tone. It's and I understand.
What do you think that is?
Well, they haven't seen me probably since then, or they really do care, or like they only refer to me as cancer at the point, right? Like social media.
But you don't want to be defined as that.
No, but I can accept. I think I'm getting better, but I hated the whole like, ask me about my work. Ask me, like, I am way past the cancer that like it doesn't define me anymore. And I also hated like, you're a soldier, you're a warrior. And I'm like,
did you get a lot of that?
Oh yeah, you're like spiritual strength so strong. Like you're a warrior, and I was like, no, I'm like freaking bitch in prison taking it. That's what cancer did to me. I just took it. I didn't have to, I just.
Now you said, hold on, I don't think we got it on this. You were talking about it's okay to be mad about it.
It's okay to be mad.
Talk about that.
I don't know if it's okay to be mad, but I was really mad.
After you got diagnosed with it? Or were you mad?
Right after. So when I was bald, I had to go through that. I lost a year of my life. I feel like my career was put on hold. Like, I just was mad. And I wasn't mad at God. I didn't blame him.
Yeah.
I was just mad that it happened. I'm just pissed off. Like, it just takes. Cancer takes and takes and takes. It takes anything. It takes friends. It takes your hair. It takes your energy. It takes your mental willpower. It just takes from you. I don't think it gives you anything until the end, until you find something to give. And a lot of people would come up to me like, you're so much closer to your God now. And I'm like, am I? Like, it kind of like made me feel like I had, like, people make it seem like you have to go through something like this to be a better person. I was like, I was a fine person before.
Right.
Like, I didn't need
Do you think that's just people?
It's a culture thing.
Well, you think that's just them wanting to find some touchstone some way to put some spin,
maybe feel
something
better.
Spin on it that's just, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, it's hard because when Brooklyn had cancer, she was a kid though, and she really embraced the superhero part of it. Like, she is a warrior. She was a warrior. And I believe it. She did have to fight. She did have to relearn how to walk multiple times. Like, she did have a fight. I didn't. Yeah. So that's why I was mad, right? Like, mine was this. I got better. I'm very fortunate financial-wise, support-wise, family, my husband. Like, we were very fortunate in it all. And, like.
The thing I think you never think about with cancer or with a lot of these diseases, people have lives that you have to still make money. You still have house payments. You still have laundry that has to get done. And
I'm so lucky I don't have kids. Right. I mean, I think about moms that get cancer, and I will almost cry thinking about how much harder it is for them. Right. And they think, no, it's just how it was. And I guess it is whenever you're in it. But I imagine having a kid to take care of. I couldn't even take care of myself. Yeah. At that time. Some people, again, don't have symptoms so severe. Like, right, they get diagnosed and they didn't even know they were sick. But I don't know.
And now
I'm pregnant. Yeah. And we didn't have to use my eggs, which is kind of good because I'm scared.
They were probably bad anyway. I don't know.
Well, I was very fertile. They got a lot out. They're like, holy moly. And I was like, yeah.
Like Jen's story, I feel like is.
I think about that. She just gave birth and has cancer, and her kid just was home with her all day, right? Yeah. And you are exhausted. Like, the mental capacity to be healing, you don't really think about it, right? Like, or you don't give a lot of people grace either for like the energy that they're, even the mental battle of dealing with cancer, like mortality, or luckily mine was like, you'll get cured and you'll live, right? Like, some people don't have that, or they did give me like the percentage, right? Like, you have an X amount odd of dying or not being cured. Yeah. But mine was so positive.
Did you ever even think about that?
Of dying? Because this is so, I don't know if I've really gotten in it with you, but like me and like mortality is very like, I don't know. When I thought about dying, I was almost like relieved, right? Like I was like, this is a good way to go, right? Like cancer, right?
What do you think that was?
It's not me having to commit suicide to die,
yeah.
right? It was something.
But you were just like, yeah.
But I think that's what made me so mad that I got such a curable cancer. I was like, no, this is me not having to commit suicide to go to hell, right? Like, I don't know. That's so messed up. It's so messed up. Okay, back to mental health though. The ketamine and the TMS.
I'm sorry, what's TMS? TMX?
TMS.
Okay.
It's that.
Oh, okay, the electric thing. Yeah.
I look so funny. So going through that and going through the ketamine, because ketamine is a mental health drug, and it like rewires your brain. So 10 years, probably 2020, 12 years before that, I've lived with suicidal ideology, like just with that and just the depression and anxiety, like pretty bad. And
So hold on, from the age of what age?
17. So, oh my gosh, wow. We're getting into it.
Yeah, I haven't heard this.
So 17 in high school, I attempted. And it's what's so crazy. It was like literally a switch, because before then I didn't understand what depression was. I was never sad. Right? Like normal sadness, but like never uncontrolled. Like it was just weird to me, right? Again, we look back though, and like my OCD was raging, and so that happened. And then ever since then, I feel like I've never been better. If you were to ask me that day, like I would ask myself or anybody, do you want to live or not today? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, take me. Like, I don't want to. For 10 years.
Wow.
And then especially during the whole like itching thing, it got really bad.
Yeah.
Did the ketamine, started chemo, and you would think chemo would make it so much worse.
Yeah.
You'd ask me, and I'm like, no, I want to live. Like
What do you think that was?
I don't know. And it wasn't even like a forced mortality. Like I never thought I was going to die with this chemo.
Yeah.
Like, or this cancer.
Yeah.
I really think it was the ketamine and the brain zapping that like finally
reset everything.
And for the longest time during that, even afterwards, I was like, damn, I'm healed. Like I finally don't have to live with this dark cloud. I feel like I've had a dark cloud my whole life.
And you feel like that's gone?
No, it came back.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, that sucks.
It's probably work. I'm just kidding.
I went back to work. I know. And it just came back. No. And right now I'm doing things differently. Like being pregnant, I have to think about things differently. And I'm going through like outpatient like treatments and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's just something that I'll just have for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I think. Or maybe I'll do ketamine and TMS like after I have the baby. And
having gone through a dark cloud stage myself, I feel like it's only when you, because I feel like for me, that you can feel things. You can feel things that seem so real, and when you stop and just consciously back out, when you consciously back out of it, you go, wait, that's irrational that I'm even feeling that. I don't really have a dark cloud hanging over my head, but the feeling for me would be that it seems so real.
Yeah.
And only when I step out of it and go, wait, why am I feeling this way?
But and then
when I look at it, I go, wait, the math doesn't add up. There is no dark cloud hanging over my head, but it feels so real. And I went through a phase where it's pretty heavy.
It's heavy, and you don't realize
if you've never been in it, you don't really know what it is, but it's pretty heavy.
It's hard. And like I talk to people like close to me, like my mom or those kind of people, they just don't understand either because they've never had that.
Yeah.
They understand I'm going through something, but they just don't truly understand why I couldn't be rational about it. And I am pretty rational when I think back on it.
Yeah.
Or think like right now I can have a rational be like, I know it's not normal. I know it's a chemical thing. I know it's not healthy. And that's why I think of like, this is so weird, like killers. Mentally, they cannot be in the right place.
Right.
To commit, murder. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and it's hard to discuss to people too because
you're scared.
Yeah, you don't really know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do find those people that have gone through things and you really, connect with. And, I found that through this and so I'm fucked. I don't know if you can say that, but I always have been. And cancer actually inflamed, I don't know. My OCD has gone really bad and rampant.
What is your OCD? How does that even manifest itself?
So you think OCD like in the commercial or stereotypical sense, like pencils in a line and the meticulous. That's not really what OCD is.
Yeah, what is OCD?
OCD is like compulsive thoughts and things that like if this, what happens? And so like
where you're just constantly weighing things out.
Constantly. But then I also have, the tics and oh my gosh, this is getting really, I don't know who's going to see this. I'm so scared.
What are the tics? What does that mean?
I have tics. It's like what? Tics. Like, they changed. My tics change at least. Sometimes they don't. Like for a long time I used to do.
Okay. I've never noticed that.
You don't know. You don't really know. I can notice it in other people sometimes.
Huh.
Like on the Infinity Show, I know one of the kids has it. Like,
oh, interesting.
Like I have to flick my wrist like a certain amount of times. It's
wow, that is so weird. That's interesting.
Weird. You don't think it is, but it's very. People are like, "Oh, it's autism." I'm like, no, it's just OCD. It's just how mine is. And then I think because of my itching and stuff, I can't put my feet to the ground without shoes.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Isn't that weird? So on the Intermountain shoot, you had me do the yoga thing.
Yeah.
Pissed. I don't know if you noticed. I was like,
because you didn't like your bare feet on the ground.
I started crying. Like,
so you don't do bare feet.
And I can't do socks either, right? People are like, "Oh, put on some socks." So around my house, I'm either wearing shoes or I've got slippers that are like a hard base.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I did not know that about OCD.
It's weird, but like, yeah, it's a germ thing, right? Like the germ thing is very OCD related, but to me, it doesn't it controls my life. Obviously, like if my TSA pre-check isn't on, I am losing my mind, right? Because you have to take off your shoes, and I'm like, I'm not going on the plane. But
can you back yourself out of that though?
No,
it's just there.
It's so irrational, and when you try to rationalize it, you can't because it is irrational, and I know it's irrational. You know what's crazy? I can go barefoot on the beach.
Oh well, that's the best place to go barefoot.
But
right
isn't
there.
it so weird that I can take off my shoes and just walk?
Yeah, that is weird.
Mm-hmm, but I can't even in my own house, right? Like I can't even just. I can mop my floors; it'll be clean, and I'm not doing it.
It's because Dolly's there. It's the hair.
It's because Zach's there. Are you kidding
there
me?
You go.
In cowboy boots, gross.
I would guess your cancer treatment was made weirder because of all the COVID stuff going on. Was that true or no?
Yeah, I had to wear a mask
all the time.
Every time I was in the doctor's office or getting chemo. How shitty is that?
Yeah.
Making like cancer patients wear masks.
Yeah.
How uncomfortable that is. The medical network or whatever that I was in, the day I rang my bell was the last day their mask mandatory, like their mask mandate was.
So you just missed it.
Mm-hmm. The next day the nurses could be maskless. Like
all the people in the cancer center, did you become good friends with them?
Oh, they're amazing. It's kind of like pediatrics, right? Like those nurses, they're just a different breed.
Yeah.
My chemo nurses were phenomenal. I made really good friends. Some of the nurses were in my TikTok dances.
Yep.
I still follow them, and whenever I go to the same office, right? You have to go and get your blood work all the time. I'll show up, and it's back to they'll comment on things or, they were one of the first people to know I was pregnant too because they had to know.
Oh yeah.
And they were really excited.
Yeah. I guess in a sense you're going to war with them. Because they're in the trenches with you. Yeah.
And they're so sympathetic. They never want to make you feel like, I remember I'd call, be like, "Hey, can I do this?" Or, "Hey," right, the Disneyland trip, like, "Hey, can I go to Disney?" And they're like, "We're not ever going to tell you no." Right? It's not advised, but we won't tell you no.
Yeah, yeah.
It was interesting the whole time my doctor pushed the COVID vaccine. And I was like, I'm good. No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the chemo nurses were great. One of them actually had a boob job not too long before and I was also unusual to them. They had very old patients.
Yeah, for sure. I bet you were a real anomaly in there.
Yeah, and like a breath of fresh air for them too. Because I was dancing, right? They thought it was the funnest thing. The old people getting chemo during my things loved it too. Like they would watch me, they loved it, and they would like support me through that. But the one that had the surgery before brought in very, very expensive scar cream, like I forgot what it is.
I know what you're talking about.
Kind, because I have scars in my port scar, and she gave it to me. She just like, "Start putting this on."
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It meant a lot to me, but yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Of course, I can't believe I shared as much as I did. That's crazy.
Well,
I don't know what it is about these
very,
chairs.
very informative. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.